So we're going to add another segment to our integer foldable. Today we're going to add integers. Okay, and something that I'm going to draw on here that will make sense later is a boat. You may have to use your imagination that it looks like a boat. And that's a paddle. And draw a mini-me. Row in the boat there. And you can add some water. Okay. So on the inside, we're going to learn two methods for adding integers. One is if we're using counters, the red and yellow counters. The yellow represents a positive, and the red represents a negative. So if we had, let's start with what we know already. You know that 2 plus 3 is 5. And you've done this. If you've had two positive counters, we add 3 more positive counters, you end up with 5 total. Now very similar to that is if we have -4 plus -1. If we start off with 4 red counters and we add 1 more red counter to that, then we end up with 5 red counters, which would be -4 plus -1 is -5. Where things get a little tricky is if we're adding a negative and a positive together. So -7 would be 7 reds, and a +5 would be 5 yellows. Now, a vocabulary word that you need to be introduced to is called 0 pairs. And that would be a pair of numbers that make 0. Or have a sum of 0. Some would be more specific. So for instance, 1, -1, there is 0 pair. You could also call this opposites. So what you do is you make a 0 pair, make a 0 pair, make a 0 pair, until all the 0 pairs are taken out of the problem. And then what you are left with is your sum. So negative 7 plus positive 5 is 2 red, so that would be a negative 2. Let's do that again. 8 plus negative 5. So we are going to start with 8 positive yellow counters. And we represent negative 5 with 5 red counters. Now let's match up our opposites, our 0 pairs. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. What you have remaining is your sum. This is 3 yellow counters, so the solution to that would be positive 3. Now, for the other section here, we're going to learn how to use our number line to add integers. What if we had 2 plus 10? And you already know how to do this. You would start at 2, and you would hop 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you would end up at 12. You know how to do that. Okay. What if I started at negative 3 and I wanted to add a negative 6? So go over here to negative 3, and because you're adding a negative 6, you're going to go to the left direction. Oops. Hop 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we end up at negative 9. Okay. What if I wanted to start at a negative? Let's say we started at negative 8, and I added a positive 12. So I start at negative 8, and I add positive 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I end up at 4. Or I could start at 6 and add a negative 11. Now because the second number is negative, I'm going to go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I end up at negative 5. So my answer, my sum is 6 plus negative 11 is negative 5. So the steps for that would be the first number is the starting point. We'll say this is 2a. If the second number is positive, move to the right that many spaces towards the positive. Okay, step 2b. That means if your second number is not positive, then you're going to do this. If the second number is negative, then the direction you will move would be to the left. Okay, and you could say the negative numbers are on the left. So you could say you're going to move toward the negative numbers. Okay, here the positive numbers are on the right, so you could say I'm moving toward the positive numbers. Okay, and then this one's kind of given. Stopping point is your sum, or your answer. And something that I have noticed with students, count when you move. Okay, so on this one, if I'm adding 6 plus negative 11, here's 6. Now if I want to go negative 11, I count after I've moved here. This is a 1. 1 does not start at 6. 1 starts when I move to 5. That's really key here. Otherwise, you're going to not be successful using the number line. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there's negative 5. So count when you move when you're using the number line. That's what we have for today with using counters in the number line to add integers. Now, on the front, I didn't finish my sailboat, or rowboat. It's a rowboat. We've got some lyrics to help us to remember how to add integers. It's to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And you may or may not have used this in elementary school. Same sign, add and keep. Different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the largest number. Going to abbreviate there. Then you'll be exact. And that's why we drew the picture there of the rowboat. That's all we have for today with adding integers. Thanks for listening.